Hey, family, this is Shannon Jackson, the People's Nurse. Thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of Living Your Life Without Limits. And today we're going to be discussing mental health awareness. But before we jump into the topic, I want to ask you to do me a favor. If you're not already a fan or subscriber of Living Your Life Without Limits, please check us out on our YouTube channel, on our social media links, and anywhere podcast is downloaded. We are on all the radio outlets. Now, to help me in this discussion today, first of all, if many of you are not aware, May is the month of Mental Health Awareness Month. We're all over the United States and even in some parts of other countries where we highlight the importance of getting help and resources as it relates to mental health awareness. Thousands of people all across the world and the country suffer with mental health diseases or mental health struggles. And we want to let you know and inform you of all the different organizations that provide help and support. And to help me discuss this important topic today, I've brought a special guest, none other than the Director of Communication of CalVoices, Miss Stephanie Ramos. Stephanie, thank you once again for joining us today on Living Your Life Without Limits.
Wake up, everybody, let's elevate your mind. Live your life without limits, no more wasting time. Don't forget.
Stephanie, how are you today?
I am doing great, and I'm actually better to be here with you today. So thank you so much for having me.
And it is a pleasure and honor to have you as a guest as we talk about this important topic. We know that May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, and you work with an organization called CalVoices that do a lot of important work. Why don't you break it down to us and tell us about CalVoices?
Yeah, so we kind of like to break our services down kind of into three categories. So we provide peer support, education, and advocacy. And when I talk about peer support, what we really mean is that we specifically employ individuals who have recovered from mental health challenges themselves, or like myself, they're a close family member. So they've helped somebody very close to them navigate the system, maybe advocate for services and things like that. On our advocacy side, we actually have a few programs that really work at the local, regional, and statewide level, where we are advocating on behalf of mental health clients throughout California, whether it be for better services, for reduced forced treatment, lots of hot topics in that advocacy area. And then with our education programs, we really focus on providing training that individuals can use to become certified as a peer supporter. So using their lived experience of recovery to support somebody else. And we're able to provide training to employers, organizations, really on that peer role, but also on recovery. And what does that mean? And how do we provide our services and programs in a way that are recovery oriented and really driven by the individuals that we're serving?
I think this is an absolute wonderful program and services that you provide. Now, is it in concert with clinicians, licensed professionals such as therapists, mental health psychologists or psychiatrists as well? Or is it all non-licensed and more community uprooted people that have actually had those experiences themselves?
So it really varies by program. So we have some programs where we have a contract maybe with a county, and the county provides the clinical support, and we actually have our peers, whether they be the family members, peers, young adults, kind of working alongside the clients within those clinical settings, helping them, build their skills, find hope, really become active members of the team. And then we have other peers that might be working on a warm line, right? Maybe without clinicians, where that people are calling in just to get support, to talk to somebody. Or we have peers who might be operating our wellness center, where people can kind of drop in, attend some support groups, get a meal, get some support. So, going anywhere from, individuals using their lived experience, building hope in folks, all the way to working as part of those treatment teams that you mentioned.
That is so wonderful. Now, you've been with the organization for a very long time. What drove you to take this as a cause? Was it because I heard you mention earlier that you have a family member that have suffered, or was it just something that you were passionate about to begin with?
Yeah, so I wasn't as familiar with the mental health world until my sibling actually started to have challenges. And I was around 17, 18 at the time. And I actually went to a treatment placement meeting with my family for my sibling. And I mediated the meeting because my parents are different. They come from different backgrounds than each other, which was very different than the clinical team. And I ended up being the mediator for about an hour and a half. And when I walked out, someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, you know, you could get a job doing this. So my first official job in mental health was actually a youth advocate, where I was a young person working with other young people, trying to help them kind of set goals, change some behaviors, help them feel really confident in talking to their maybe clinician or therapist and things like that.
That is absolutely wonderful. And today, as we're coming out of the pandemic, I'm calling it pandemic recovery because we're slowly coming out of it. I think we're going to a place where we have to live with it. It's almost like a mixed bag, even though it was a big challenge that many people faced and many people struggled. It also put spotlights on the importance of mental health. And I think that removing the stigma, it's still somewhat of a stigma that people are afraid to come forward if they say, hey, I'm struggling in that area. I feel suicidal. I'm dealing with depression issues, or they have more diagnosed type of conditions such as schizophrenia, bipolar. But that being said, even though it was hard for us as a nation, as the world, it also brought forth more attention how it is important to check on our mental health. Oftentimes, we do a lot on our physical bodies to make sure we're physically fit, and we rarely make a conscious effort to make sure we're mentally fit and do that mental health and mental check-in with ourselves, or take up mental health routine habits to be healthy. What are some of the things that you offer the clients or make recommendations in terms of them keeping their mental health balance, just like we do physical fitness? We have routines and things that we do. Are there any things that CalVoices advocate for or suggest or have?
Yeah, so when we're looking at recovery, there's actually 4 major dimensions that we look at, and those are health, home, purpose, and community. And so we're talking about mental health, but we say health. We don't even say mental health when we say we need to address health issues, because we know that many things contribute to our mental health. Mental health doesn't often happen in isolation. There could be, physical health issues that are contributing to that. So I think, again, kind of the exercising, how are we taking care of ourselves physically? If we're looking at our health, we're looking at our whole health. Home, do we have a safe and stable place to live? Right? It might be safe, but it might not be stable, or maybe it's stable, but it's not the safest place, right? So are we addressing that? Purpose. Right? Folks are always saying, what's the meaning of life? Or why am I here? I want to do more, feel like I'm contributing. And so looking for those opportunities to contribute, to, feel that you have purpose, whether that be a job or going to school or caretaking or finding a hobby, volunteering, there's a lot of options there. And then community. How are we engaging with our community? Do we feel as if we're a part of our community, right? So going out to community events that might be happening. Are we actively engaged in, civics, laws that are being made? Are we involved in our government? So when we're looking at mental health, it's a lot bigger than just, did I do my self-care today? But really backing out, looking at the bigger picture of health, home, purpose, and community, and recognizing that if we're talking about our mental health and recovery, all of those 4 factors have a huge impact on our overall mental health. And I also want to mention that sometimes we talk about, poor mental health and mental illness kind of at the same time, as if they're interchangeable, and they're different.
Absolutely.
So I might, I don't have a mental health condition, but I might have a period of time where I have poor mental health.
Right.
And somebody who has a mental illness might have periods of time where they're doing really well. And so no matter who we are, and I think like you mentioned, the pandemic kind of made this realer for everybody, we all can have poor mental health. So kind of keeping in mind, how are we doing that maintenance, keeping our battery full, like doing what we need to do in our whole health to ensure that we're really, doing the work that we need to do in the background to have a big effect on our mental health.
Wonderful. And I love how you guys have those 4 pillars, because it really is treating the total person, making sure we're whole in every aspect of our life. So absolutely kudos to the organization. And also, just to caveat on what you mentioned about that, mental illness and mental health are very different, but some of the symptoms can be the same. And they both require the proper treatment and the proper expertise to get the help that we need. So Stephanie, tell our viewers and our listening audience, how can they access CalVoices before we let you leave us today? If they need some help or want to get involved within the organization, how may they reach out?
So I always tell everyone, visit our website, www.calvoices.org. We have a lot of information and resources there. You can also check us out on social media. We have facebook.com/CalVoices, Instagram.com/Cal_voices. You can also find us on Twitter @CalVoices. I would say those are probably the best ways to probably be entertained by what we're doing. But you can also shoot us an email directly at info@calvoices.org. I would say email is going to probably be, it's going to get you the fastest response. We really encourage check out our site, see what we're doing, come visit us. We have some direct services up in Northern California, but we provide our advocacy and training program statewide. So that's something, anyone in California can take advantage of.
Absolutely. Stephanie, thank you once again for being a guest on our show at Living Your Life Without Limits. We pride ourselves on motivating, educating, and elevating and inspiring people to live their life without limits. And even though this month is considered mental health awareness, I want to challenge our viewers and listening audience to understand it's not just for a month. It is a lifestyle. And to have us have that balance of not only mental health, physical health, emotional, spiritual, it's all interconnected. And making sure that if we're struggling, whether it be in one area or the other, to understand we don't have to suffer in silence. We don't have to take that on by ourselves. Whether you feel thoughts of suicide or just ultimate depression or just feeling like I'm just lost. And reach out to help. There's CalVoices, as Stephanie Ramos has told us about their organizations. There's also Suicide Prevention Hotline. Even in your local communities, there's help and resources. And if you don't know where that is, please send us an email link at info@livingyourlifewithoutlimits.com or info@thepeoplesnurse.com. And we will certainly make sure we provide you information to help you get the help that you need, because it's all about being healthy and living your life to your fullest potential. And thank you again, you, the viewer and listening audience, for allowing us to come each week into your homes and over your radios. And we appreciate you so much. But as I often end this show, I end no different today. Remember, family, to love yourself. Take care of yourself, because guess what? You are absolutely worth it. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Log on and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay connected. And remember, we're just getting started. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week.